welcome back to Surgery 101, the surgery podcast brought to you with the help of the Department of Surgery at the University of Alberta. This week is a video episode. I'll be giving a short presentation based on a talk that I gave recently at TEDMEDLive, which is an event at the University of Alberta to celebrate our 100-year centenary of medicine. And the title of the talk is How Can We Use Technology to Transform Medical Education? And it's all about Surgery 101. So as regular listeners will know, I am a surgeon, and here I am in operating theatre number 2 in the Royal Alexandra Hospital, and it's where I spend a lot of my life. About 60% of my time is clinical and the other 40% is academic. And I trained in the UK. It takes a fairly long time to train a surgeon in the UK. I started in 1987 when I entered medical school, and I finished when I got into practice in Canada in 2006. So it takes a long time. It takes a long time to develop the technical skills, of course, but more important, it takes a long time to develop the judgment to become a surgeon. Now that I'm in practice, of course I'm interested in surgery, but I've become more interested now than before in education. I'm very interested in what happened to me to make me a surgeon, and I'm very interested in how I can learn from that, help other people become surgeons as well. I'm now the Tom Williams Endowed Chair in Surgical Education, so I spend a lot of my time thinking about surgical education and doing studies and publishing and presenting on surgical education. The other thing I'm interested in, have always been interested in, is technology. And I was the first person I knew who had an email address or a website or a blog or a wiki, so I'm very down with technology, as you might imagine. I'm not so down with the hardware side of things. I have been following the maker movement in California. I've tried some of the Arduino kits. I'm not terribly interested in the technical side, the hardware side of new technology. Much more interested in the communication side of it, so how we use new technologies to communicate. Those are the three aspects of my life currently: surgery, education, and technology. I want to wind the clock back now to that young surgeon-to-be back in 1987 when he was starting medical school. And here I am studying. And you'll notice this is an unusual picture of a medical student studying from today's point of view. There's no electronic device in the picture at all there. There's no laptop, there's no iPod, there's no iPad, there's no tablet, there's no device at all. Also, I don't have any music playing, I don't have any earphones in. I'm just studying. You can see I'm studying from these things called books, and I'm using pens to make notes on paper. And that thing on the left hand side is actually a real human skull that I borrowed to learn some anatomy. So that's how I learn medicine. Looking forwards now, because of my interest in education and technology, I started to wonder, is there a way that we can use this new technology that I didn't have when I was a medical student to teach people about surgery? Is there a way to combine surgery with the technology like the iPod to make something that students could access? And I was having this conversation with one of my residents, Parveen Bura. I gave a talk one time, and he came to me after the talk and said, I'm very interested in what you're talking about in terms of using technology. Is there a way that I can help you make some podcasts maybe? So we decided to go ahead, and we didn't know what we were doing. So we decided our principle really was to keep it as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid. We decided to make some really basic recordings, just audio, no video. And we'd keep them short, so we'd keep them 10 or 15 minutes maximum. We'd cover some very basic surgical topics, really surgery for beginners. No operations, just talking about different surgical presentations, different diseases that medical students must know about and every doctor must know about as well. And because we were doing it really simply and keeping it really basic, we picked the name Surgery 101. I guess it's a basic beginner's course in surgery. So we made, I think Parveen recorded, I helped him with the scripting, and Parveen recorded 9 episodes. Then I made another episode called What is Surgery 101? Back in those days, in 2008, we had about 125 medical students in our class. So I remember a colleague of mine said that he had a great solution for this. We should burn 125 CDs, or we should make 125 memory sticks and give away the episodes that way. And we decided not to do those things, basically because we were lazy. Who's got the time to burn all those CDs or prep all those memory sticks? We decided to use a technology that was fairly new at the time called iTunes. And we stuck these 10 episodes on iTunes. We wrote a little piece of text to explain where they had come from. And then we said to our students, hey, we've got these podcast things, go on iTunes and have a look. Let us know what you think. We did a little study actually to see if the students used them and if they liked them or not. Because our students were already paying tuition, we decided that we couldn't really charge for them. We put them on iTunes and made them completely free, and we also went open source as well. So we said if anybody thinks they can make a better episode, please take our material, make a better one, and then send it out into the world beyond. And we covered some fairly basic topics. These are the 10 original episodes: breast cancer, appendicitis, thyroid masses, bowel obstruction, colon cancer. These topics would be considered surgical bread and butter. These would be familiar to any surgeon from 100 years ago when our medical school started. Really very basic stuff. We made those 10 episodes, we put them on iTunes, and then we moved on to other things. Parveen became a chief resident and then went into practice. I got involved in some other projects. Surgery 101 was just one thing that we did. And unlike the elephant, we forgot about Surgery 101 and we moved on to some other projects. And then something interesting happened. And what happened next I regard as a fairly big thing in my life. Like, it changed some of the things in my life. It changed the way I think about education. It changed the way I think about technology. What happened next was quite wonderful and unexpected. So here are our 10 original episodes. Breast cancer, appendicitis, all the rest. Remember, we didn't tell anybody else apart from our students that these were out there. We started to get emails from people in America to say, these are great, when are you making more? And we're like, well, how do you know that these are out there in the first place? We started getting people doing requests. We said, well, can you do me an episode on pancreatitis? What about one on benign prostatic hypertrophy? We liked your episode on appendicitis, but can I have one on pancreatic cancer now? We got emails from people in other countries, like Brazil, Germany, Romania, people saying, we're using Surgery 101 and thanks very much and please make us some more. So we decided perhaps we hit on something here, and we decided maybe we should make some more episodes. The trouble is that I'm a general surgeon with an interest in colorectal surgery. I'm not an expert in all different sorts of surgery, so we turned to our colleagues in the Department of Surgery here, about 175 surgeons here in Edmonton, Alberta, and we said, would you like to make some podcast episodes? Would you like to give us 15 minutes on heart transplantation, or 20 minutes on pancreatic cancer? How about 12 minutes on prostate cancer? How about something on total parenteral nutrition? And we recruited quite a large number of surgeons who were willing to help. And it turned out that once we got all those episodes recorded, we haven't had enough material then to put out a new episode every single week. We got an enormous wave of support from our colleagues, from the Surgery 101 experts. We developed what's called the mobile podcasting team. I like to call them the Surgery 101 superstars. And these ladies are the team who run Surgery 101 behind the scenes. There's Katrina on the left, then Tracy, and then there's Jenny and Shannon on the right there. And they recruit the surgeons, they go out to the surgeons' offices, they get the surgeons to prep a very simple script, they do the recording, they take it back to our office, they do some of the basic editing and chop it up into different sections, then they give it to me. So they're really the superstars behind Surgery 101. I do quite a bit of work on this in my basement in my spare time. Here's my two iMacs set up side by side. There's my Blue Yeti microphone and my pop filter. So I'll do the beginning and the end of each episode. This is also where I record the episodes that I do for myself. So you'll often find me sitting in the basement on a Sunday afternoon working on Surgery 101. This is what the inside of a podcast looks like. You see there's multiple tracks at the top of the screen, and then there's sections at the bottom of the screen. That purple track at the top is the expert's voice. So basically our team takes the expert's voice, gets rid of all the ums and ahs and things they didn't intend to say, and breaks them up into sections. See the purple sections there. And then we punctuate those sections using music and using sound effects as well. So we talk about the first part, there's some music. We talk about the second part, there's a sound effect. We basically break it up into chapters like that. And then each podcast has a beginning where I introduce the topic and tell you what the objectives are. It has a middle where the surgeon tells you what he's going to tell you, or she's going to tell you. And then there's an end piece where the surgeon will summarise, and then I'll prepare you for next week's episode. We've had quite a bit of success with this model of mobile podcasting, and currently we've got a little bit over 120 episodes. So a lot more than those original 10 that we started with. As I say, a new episode every single Friday now. We've done series on cancer surgery, including some patients talking about their experiences of cancer surgery. Quite a lot of episodes on urology. We had a series just about the clerkship, just about medical students and how they learn in surgery in the hospital. We've had a recent series all about inflammatory bowel disease. We've had a number of lots of different types of episodes over the time that we've been running Surgery 101. We've also been able to do things like surgical stories, where we get surgeons from all across Canada to tell us why they picked the career of surgery. And we've got lots of ideas for new types of episodes as we go forward. We have had a very pleasing number of downloads across the world. We were delighted when we got 10,000 downloads. Remember, we started out trying to cater to 125 students in Edmonton. We didn't tell anybody else about this. So imagine our delight when we got 100,000, when we got 10,000 downloads. Imagine our surprise when we hit 100,000 downloads. We ended up getting featured on the front cover of the local newspaper here, the Edmonton Journal. I was on radio and TV as well, and we got an enormous spike of downloads when we got that media attention. 100,000 downloads, that's a lot of people. This is our current number of downloads, 850,000 downloads. In fact, this slide is out of date already. It's close to 890,000 downloads. We get between 500 and 1,000 downloads every single day. You can see there's one point here, just early in 2012, where we got a big dip in our download number. And that's because our providers accidentally switched off the feed for a couple of days. And I got an enormous wave of emails from people complaining about this and saying, I was using this to study, my exam is tomorrow, where is the episode? Or my teacher told me that there was this episode that I could listen to before my lecture, and now I can't listen to it, and where is it? And we realised that a lot of people were using Surgery 101 through that experience of having it switched off by accident. So lots of people are listening. So where are they? Turns out they're all over the world. The darker colours here indicate more downloads. White indicates no downloads yet. You can see we're an English language podcast, so it's largely North America, Europe and Australia. We've got downloads in China, in India, in Russia, in most countries in South America. Don't have any downloads yet in North Korea or in Greenland. So if you're listening there, please download a few episodes for us and fill in the colours on the map. As I say, 850,000 downloads, a bit more than that now, in more than 150 countries, with a marketing budget of nothing. We've actually spent no money on marketing Surgery 101 to anyone, anywhere. It's really impressive. It's really humbling actually to think that more people have heard me say welcome to Surgery 101 than I will ever meet in the course of my life. My voice has been heard in more countries than I will ever visit in reality. It's very astonishing, it's very humbling to look at the power of the technology and what it's enabled us to do. We have done some surveys on who's listening. This is with the help of our marketing department here in the University of Alberta. It's mostly students, but there are residents, physicians and patients listening as well. There's our patients. And most people think that Surgery 101 is pretty good. We've also had 100 of our episodes peer reviewed and published on MedEd portal, so each of our Surgery 101 experts gets a line on their resume when they do an episode for us. We have our website, surgery101.org, which of course says best surgery podcast ever. We started featuring episodes made by students, like this excellent video episode on how to be a good surgical student. On the right hand side there you can see we also have an app for the iPhone and for Android phones as well. So summing up then, what's the secret of our success with Surgery 101? I think the secret is we kept it simple and we kept it short. We also kept it frequent and we kept it free. Comes out every single Friday and it's free. It's high quality, like you're getting good stuff here from experts, but it's not all serious. We break it down with music, we break it down with sound effects, we have some humour sometimes, we tell stories about patients, stories about surgeons. And I think we've had some success in breaking down barriers between students and surgeons, between surgeons and patients, between people who are listening in different countries. And we've been very successful in getting our local expertise in Edmonton out there all around the world. How can this be applied elsewhere? Well, it's really not rocket science. It's not that complicated. It takes a bit of hard work to make an episode every single week, but it's not terribly complex. The technology is very disruptive. Unlike textbooks, unlike more traditional methods of learning, this can be accessed by anyone, anywhere, at any time. And the technology is fairly robust and it's low tech. You can listen on your phone. You don't need some expensive broadband DSL connection. You can listen on your phone in your hand in real time. It's a very powerful distribution technology, and it can reach everybody around the world all at the same time. It's really amazing. And I think from our point of view, making it free was the key. Like giving it away for free and letting people try it was really the key to our success. So what's next for Surgery 101? Well, we're going to keep going. We're not stopping. We're going to make more episodes by surgeons, by students, and by patients. We started something new called Surgery 101 Network, where we get people to request and also submit new episodes. And we're working with a large team of summer students this summer to do something called Surgery 101 Studios, where we're going to work on video, developing assessment items, and also virtual patients, virtual cases as well. So we think we've demonstrated you can use sound educational principles along with simple but very powerful technology to change the way that medical education is delivered across the world to reach people you've never heard of in countries you're never going to visit. And I think this guy, starting medical school in 1987 there, he probably wouldn't recognise the world today, but I think he'd be quite impressed with what we've done with Surgery 101 and the reach that we've managed to establish with it. If I was asked to predict what's going to happen in the next few years with online education, I would say you ain't seen nothing yet. So thanks for listening. Please send your comments to surgerypodcast@gmail.com or leave us a comment at surgery101.org. You can also send us a tweet on Twitter, surgery_101, or you can find us on Facebook. Thanks very much, and we'll see you back here next week on Surgery 101.